There's a strange turning point in your day, Scorpio, and it has less to do with luck than with recognition. The sky is asking you to stop living on autopilot, because once you see what today is really revealing, you may realize you've been using only a fraction of your real power. From the Western perspective, the moon is doing most of the daily work here. In Pisces, it stirs your creative self-expression, your need to play, and the part of you that wants to create something that feels alive rather than approved. But that lunar mood begins in tension because it opposes Venus in your 11th house of community, which can make outside feedback feel louder than your own instinct. You may notice the temptation to manage everyone's reaction before the work is even seen. The important thing is not to dilute your idea to make it easier for other people to consume. Let the original version breathe first. Then, later, the Aries moon moves into your 6th house of practice, and that changes the emotional weather completely. The focus shifts from being observed to being effective, from performance to process, from worrying about opinions to tightening the details that actually matter. And that is where the bigger story begins. The end of the North Node in Pisces cycle is not just a closing chapter, it is the end of a loop. For many Scorpios, that loop has involved younger people in some form. Children, students, nieces, nephews, godchildren, stepchildren, or simply a relationship to younger energy through teaching, mentoring, care, or creative influence. In evolutionary terms, this is a life path reset. A circuit is finishing, and with it comes a chance to ask a harder question. Who are you when you are not just serving a role? This is where the chart gets personal, because the ending is not a loss. It is a clearing. What looked like duty may now reveal what was only ever a partial expression of you. Let that sink in for a moment, because the next beginning wants the real you, not the reduced version. In Vedic tradition, the moon's passage through Aquarius also adds a different but complementary lesson: tact. The impulse to say exactly what you think can be strong, especially if you feel underestimated, but the day may reward measured speech more than blunt honesty. Professionally, diplomacy can carry you farther than force. Not because you are meant to soften your truth, but because timing is part of truth. The most effective message is often the one delivered with precision, not volume. So here's the synthesis moment. The Western lens is showing a creative identity reset, while the Vedic lens is emphasizing disciplined communication, and both are pointing to the same deeper truth. Tate is about refining expression until it reflects your actual authority. Not louder, clearer, not more reactive, more intentional. And there's one detail most people overlook here. The Aries moon later in the day doesn't just help you get organized, it changes how you relate to effort itself. If the morning asks, "What do they think of my work?" the afternoon asks, "What can I improve right now?" That shift is powerful. You may find that once you stop auditioning for approval, your focus sharpens almost immediately. The energy favors editing, practice, routine, cleanup, and health-related tasks that restore momentum. Even a short walk, a stretch break, or a quick reset around food and schedule can help you feel more like yourself again. Love today may feel less glamorous and more revealing. If you're single, the emotional climate may support light flirting, but only if it does not become a performance or a test. If you're attached, a small irritation could turn into a useful conversation if you keep the tone practical instead of dramatic. The important question is not, do they love me enough? It is, are we making life easier for each other in visible ways? That can sound almost too ordinary, but ordinary acts often carry the deepest affection. A ride, a meal, a thoughtful check-in, or taking one task off someone's plate may matter more than a grand speech. But here's what almost every astrologer misses about this combination. The same transits that can make romance feel slightly exposed can also make love feel more honest. When the emotional fog lifts, you see whether someone is showing up through action or just words. That does not mean the relationship is failing. It means the day is stripping away decoration so you can see substance. If you've been feeling extra sensitive to how others respond to you, that makes sense. The Pisces and Venus tension can make comparison feel sharp, especially around creative work, social belonging, and whether you are enough. But the more productive move is to treat that feeling as data, not a verdict. You do not need to become harder. You need to become more exact. In relationships, that might mean saying what you need in plain language. In friendship, it might mean noticing who responds when you stop over-explaining. In any case, the day favors honesty that is clean rather than dramatic. Career-wise, today is excellent for the kind of work that improves under revision. The Aries moon in your sixth house of practice favors systems, scheduling, follow-through, and the unglamorous tasks that make your bigger goals possible. If the morning brings uncertainty around your creative output or your place in a group, the solution is not to force a public answer. It is to produce something solid, refine one detail, clear one backlog item, answer one email with precision. The work itself becomes the proof. From the Western lens, this is also where your community dynamics matter. Venus in your 11th house of community can make you more aware of who appreciates your contribution and who only appreciates the version of you that is convenient. That distinction matters. There's a quiet kind of professional power in no longer overgiving to win belonging. You may notice that once you stop trying to smooth everyone's reaction, your confidence becomes more usable, not theatrical. Usable. In Vedic terms, Te's emphasis on tact is especially relevant if you are navigating bosses, clients, or public-facing communication. You do not need to say less because you lack substance. You say less when it improves the result. That is a different discipline entirely. And if someone presses you for an immediate answer, the chart suggests it may be wiser to pause than to overcommit. Moment. Here's the truth bomb for today. The moment you stop asking, how do I make everyone comfortable with me, is the moment your real path starts becoming visible. That's why the day can feel both uncomfortable and freeing. The discomfort comes from losing old approval loops. The freedom comes from realizing you were never meant to live inside them. Money follows a similar pattern. Small gains are possible, but this is not the kind of day to treat as proof that spending can loosen. If money comes in, manage it professionally. If you're deciding what to buy, the Aries practical energy favors tools, routines, and useful things over impulse purchases. The goal is not austerity. It is clarity. The more your spending reflects actual priorities, the less scattered you feel. And there is a deeper wellness message here too. This is a day to respect your back, your schedule, and your nervous system. If something feels physically taxing, especially if it pulls on you more than usual, it may be wise to scale it back. Your body is part of the story now, not an accessory to it. Rest can be strategic. So can structure. Some Vedic practitioners may recommend Saturn-related remedies, such as specific gemstones or mantras for individuals whose birth charts support them. This is not universal advice. Gemstone prescription in Vedic astrology requires personal chart analysis. A safer, universally supportive approach today would be something simple and steady. A short meditation, a yellow clothing accent if that resonates with you, or even a deliberate pause between tasks so you can reset your pace. Take a breath here, because this next part is personal. If you've been pouring energy into others, especially younger people, family members, students, or anyone who depends on you, the chart suggests that your generosity needs boundaries to stay sustainable. The end of the node cycle makes that obvious. You can care deeply without carrying everything. You can help without disappearing. You can be present without becoming the entire structure holding everyone up. That theme extends into family and home. Spending time with elders may bring comfort, grounding, or a piece of advice worth remembering. Someone older in the family could offer the kind of perspective that cuts through today's emotional static. Meanwhile, home life may benefit from small practical repairs, cleaner routines, or a calmer pace around shared responsibilities. Socially, the energy is friendly but discerning. Not every interaction needs to become meaningful, and not every invitation deserves your full energy. The day rewards quality over noise. The surprising part is how travel and spiritual reflection echo the same message. If travel is on your mind, the energy suggests movement away from routine could help you think more clearly. Your mind may work best when it is not trapped in the same room all day. Even a short trip, a change of scenery, or simply thinking outside the usual environment can open new doors. Spiritually, though, the real journey is inward. The question of what remains when old roles fall away. That is the heart of today. You are not being emptied. You are being made available to a truer direction. If you need a few quick anchors for the day, keep these close. Yellow for support, the late morning window between 11:30 a.m. and 1:00 p.m. for a smoother flow, diplomacy over bluntness, practical effort over emotional overanalysis, and small useful actions over dramatic declarations. London may also carry symbolic or literal travel energy for some of you, but even if you are staying put, the invitation is the same. Move with purpose. So here is your action plan. Say less, but mean more. Finish one concrete task before seeking anyone's reaction. Check your body, especially your back and your overall stamina, before pushing too hard. You help someone today. Be specific about what you can offer, so your kindness stays visible and clean. The bigger message is simple. Today is not asking you to become someone else. It is asking you to stop performing a smaller version of who you already are. If you follow that thread, the day can feel like a quiet return to power, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself to be real.